Well, good morning, all you beautiful love streamers out there. Those of you on Facebook and YouTube and Zoom, we want to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte. I am your host, Horace. And if this is your first time, we want you to know that we are so delighted that you have chosen to join us today. Because with modern technology, we are extremely grateful for this opportunity to touch so many lives, especially as we share these wonderful happenings here at CSL Charlotte. So please feel free to visit our website, cslcharlotte.org, put in a prayer request, and subscribe. We add our recordings to our website each and every week. So before I tell you more about who we are, I just want to take time to just celebrate. This is National Women's Month. Yes, we want to give honor to our women, our sisters, not just here in our own community, but all over, because it is all of you that make this community what it is. And we're just so honored and grateful that you are a part of this community and that you are a beneficial presence in this world. And I look forward to our ladies stepping up, talking about the women that inspire them throughout this month. So I look forward to that within the next coming weeks for this month, for National Women's Month. And we just know that there are a lot of women who are to be honored. So let me tell you more about us. The Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte, we are a new thought community living in ancient wisdom philosophy based on the science of mind. The science of mind philosophy was developed in the early 20th century by writer and lecturer Ernest Holmes. Dr. Holmes was a man on a mission. He studied truths from all of the world's religious traditions and spiritual paths. Holmes developed a fresh new way for us to look at ourselves and how we fit into our world. He's been referred to as the great synthesizer. So at CSO Charlotte, we want you to know that every philosophy is honored, along with every race, sexual orientation, and physical distinction. We are a diverse, open, and affirmative community. And there are many paths to the divine. We may call it God, peace, love, spirit, infinite mind, or the I am presence. It really doesn't matter what you call it. But what does matter is that you know and recognize that this is your power that resonates within you. You do not have to leave your philosophy or nature of knowledge. You can join us at any time. We recognize and refer to many of the Holy Scriptures, such as the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. And that is just to name only a few. So let me tell you about our vision statement here at CSO Charlotte. We are here to continue a spiritual community, creating and preparing a succession of future leaders who can fully integrate, teach, and expose the science of mind principles, messages, and practices that strengthen the mind, body, and spirit of each and every individual. So one of our aims is to create a high collective consciousness for everyone in this community. We teach everyone the tools to do just that. And if you want to find out more about those tools, come and join us as we meet each Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you would definitely will find it very helpful as we dive deep into those tools and messages and inspirations. And you're going to find out more about that during the announcements and opportunities. So welcome everyone and enjoy our service as we celebrate this powerful being which lives within each and every one of us. So what I want you to know and understand today that Reverend Rosedale is taking a sabbatical here in Miami, and we are honored to have Reverend Sonja Prince as our guest speaker. I don't even like to refer to her as our guest speaker. She's just, you know, old time homie that's come back, you know. And before I pass the mic over to her, I want to leave you with a couple of thoughts. First of all, her theme for today is the power of self-acceptance. The power of self-acceptance. And she said her talk title is Stepping into Your Power with Courage, Conviction, and Consciousness. Let me read that again. Stepping into your power with courage, conviction, and consciousness. And with that, I want to leave you also with this quote. With unconditional self-acceptance, you always, yes, always accept and respect yourself, your personhood, your being, whether or not you perform well or whether or not other people approve of you and your behaviors. And that is from Albert Ellis. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to Reverend Sonja Prince.
Thank you, Horace. Thank you very much. And it is my pleasure to be in this community today. So this is a time when we are talking about Women's Month, National Women's Month. And so thank you, Horace, for bringing that to our attention because it is important. And during my talk today, I'm going to show you and talk to you about how important it is and also how you can then take the courage and the commitment and the consciousness of the women that I'll be talking about and integrate some of the teachings into your life, tools for thriving. And so, but before we do that, I want you to take in a deep breath and just center and ground yourself and know that you are rooted in divine power every day, 24/7, that there's no separation. And so as you inhale, envision divine-like filling your being from your head to your toe. And as you exhale, release any self-doubt, any limitations, or any fears. And just feel yourself grounded in truth, the truth of who and whose you are. You are here for a purpose, with power, with divine wisdom, and with following through and just knowing the presence of God that lives within you. And knowing that that same spirit that has moved through these trailblazing women that I'll talk about today is the same spirit that is within you. And so as you move through your day and throughout your life, I want you to do it with courage, with resilience, and with faith that you are here for a purpose. And I'd like for you to affirm to yourself, I am a unique and radiant expression of the divine. And I honor my truth. I embrace my light. I stand in my power. And as you remember that and affirm that today, just take in your deep breaths and know that you are breathing the life of God.
Now it's time for our opening prayer. And so Alan is now going to do our opening prayer. Thank you.
All right, everybody. So I encourage you to just close your eyes and take in a deep breath, really just embracing everything that is all around us, embracing life, embracing spirit, because this is who we are. We are that light that radiates out from the universe. It expresses it each and every one of us, and especially as the women that we honor this month. It is the source of motherhood that chooses to give birth. And we are all constantly giving birth to new ideas, new creations, because this is how spirit wants to express through us. We are all mothers and we are all sisters to each other. So I recognize that fact today. And it's great to remind each other of who we are and how interconnected we are. So I know that as we honor these women this month, I know that we also empower each other and ourselves to embrace the divine feminine that is within each and every one of us. And I know that Reverend Sonja delivers a powerful message that leaves us inspired and gives us something to take away for the week. So I am thankful to be part of this community where we each recognize each other as the bright lights that we are. And with much gratitude and thanksgiving, I release this prayer out into the creative universe, knowing that it's giving birth to new ideas and new creations right here and right now. And so it is.
This morning's reading is going to be a poem by Fanny Brooks James. But first, historian and author Festus once wrote, "All souls shall be in God and shall be God, and nothing but God be." Our talk title today is Stepping into Your Power with Courage, Conviction, and Consciousness. And this morning, our poem by Fanny Brooks Fanny Brooks James. She was a prominent figure in the divine science movement in Denver during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. And she authored works such as Divine Science, New Light Upon Old Truth, and All Who Seek More Light. And now, What I Am by Fanny Brooks James. God worketh through me to will and to do of his good pleasure. In God I live, move, and have my being. I am life. I move, I live, I have my being. I am with life within eternal life. I am substance within the eternal substance. I am strength within the infinite strength. I am mind within the divine mind. I am idea within the divine idea. I am consciousness within the divine consciousness. I am truth. I am freedom. I am fullness. I am that I am. My life is complete now. I am eternally perfect. My health is a finished fact. My freedom is a changeless reality. My strength is omnipotence. My understanding is omniscience. I now accept my always perfect health, my changeless freedom, my unlimited strength, my divine understanding, and my spiritual substance from thee, my source. And so it is.
Step on up. That song really makes me smile. I hope it does the same for you. Stepping on up, stepping into our power. So today what we're going to talk about is talking about stepping into our power with courage and with conviction and with consciousness. And we're going to talk about some trailblazers. And I wanted to say, as we are transitioning from Black History Month and we're sliding into Women's History Month, it is a pleasure for me to sit here and speak to you about it. I want to thank Reverend Rosedale, and we know that right where she is where she needs to be, and God is with her, because God is always with her and always with us. So I want to thank her. I am Sonja Prince, and I come from Riverside Center for Spiritual Living under the tutelage of Reverend Jeffrey Ryan. I am the assistant minister there. So I'm glad to be here in your community today. And so the women that we're going to talk about, they were bold, they were courageous, and they paved the way, and not just for themselves, but for generations to come. They did that with their resilience, with their wisdom, and their spiritual insight. And it continues to shape our understanding and empower us for healing and knowing our divine truth. So today we want to recognize three extraordinary, profound women, and that is Myrtle Fillmore, Reverend Johnny Coleman, and Emma Curtis Hopkins. And these spiritual pioneers, like I said, paved the way and shaped the metaphysical Christianity community and expanded New Thought. So Myrtle is the co-founder of the Unity Movement, and Myrtle believed in the power and the presence of a spirit within us and to unite with that spirit. And that would help us to move forward in our lives and use that for power, for prayer, and for changing our lives. And she is leading creator of Silent Unity. And that is a prayer line that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and get a live person to pray for you. So that is Myrtle Fillmore. The next person is Johnny Coleman. Johnny Coleman broke the barrier and gender and racial barriers for as the first Black woman student to teach and to study at Unity Village in Lee Summit, Missouri, Kansas, I think. And so she's an African-American woman. She founded Christ Universal Temple. She healed herself just by finding spirit. And her motto was, it works if you work it. And so another person that we're going to talk about today is Emma Curtis Hopkins. And she was a former student of Mary Baker Eddy. And she paved the way and came up with her own metaphysical spirituality. She emphasized spiritual healing, divine mind principles, and metaphysical Christianity. So these remarkable women shaped metaphysical Christianity and empowered countless of individuals to stand in their truth and claim their divine inheritance. And so the teachings that we're going to talk about today that they inspired is courage, conviction, and consciousness, also commitment. And we have to have those, because in a world that is determined to marginalize people of certain genders, races, the role to seek to make us think about external things instead of internal things. There's always something trying to tell us who we are and who we should be and what we should do and what it should look like, that we often think that that is the world that we should be ascribing to. Now we live in that world. We're spiritual. We're having this spiritual experience in this human body on this plane. So I'm not saying that we ignore everything that's going on around us and say, well, that's not the real world. What I'm saying is we get in touch and cultivate this inner spirituality that we all have at our disposal. And despite your background, your race, your gender expression, it's important that we first know who we are. And in order to understand those society norms, we have to kind of discover why they happen and why are they happening now. And one of the things I always come back to is that cycle of socialization. And it's a framework to explain how individuals are conditioned into society beliefs, often perpetuating discrimination and inequality. We can see that in our world right here today. Sometimes I feel like we're being pushed back to the 1950s. But we need to stand strong. We need to understand the cycle of socialization so we can understand what's happening in our world out here and then focus on the world in here and not internalizing those things. So that cycle of socialization, like I said, is a framework, but it starts at birth. Well, you have no choices but to align with whatever your identity is from your parents and whoever is around you. And then there is the first socialization that we get is to our families and our close influences, our caregivers. And that is our earliest belief about race, gender, success, and power we get from that. And then there's institutional and cultural socialization, what we learn in school, what we learn in the media, what we learn from our religious organizations or government. That's where we get that from. And then enforcement with rewards and punishment. If I conform to what the teacher said I must do. When I was in school, it was all about the guys did shop and the women did home economics. We took sewing and cooking and typing. So this society norms at the time when I was growing up and in high school was that women were the caregivers of the home, which that is true, but men can also be the caregivers in the home. We were taught that I needed to aspire to be a secretary. We learned typing, and the faster the person was on the typewriter, these old electric typewriters, then that would ensure us a good job as a secretary. So those social norms, we grow up with those things, we learn those things, and then the enforcement is reward and punishment. Like I said before, if you do this, then you'll be accepted into this, or you'll be accepted into. So we're always trying to conform to what someone else tells us or what the world tells us that we should be. And then results. And this is where you can interrupt that cycle of socialization when something clicks for you. Maybe there's a situation that you find yourself in, and you begin to think a little differently. And so that then you begin to get curious and aware, and then you start reaching out for other things and learning other things, and you can break that cycle of socialization. I mean, you're still socialized by it, but those ideas in your head of what people should look like, should be, to be accepted, fall away. And that's when you find like a philosophy like ours that teaches you that we are all one with the divine, that we are all individualized expressions of the divine, everyone. And so what I wanted to talk about again was breaking that cycle, and you break it through spiritual awareness. So Science of Mind teaches us, it gives us tools, and it talks about oneness. We are one with God. God is the source of everything. And that there's a triune nature in spirit, and we also embody those three aspects, which is spirit, soul, and body. And that we are creative. There's a creative nature of this universe of spirit, and we also share in that creativity because we're creative by our thoughts and by our words and by our actions. We're always creating. And then that teaches us that prayer, that our foundation and our mantle is our spiritual mind treatment. We treat and then we move our feet. And then there's wholeness. We're whole, we're perfect, we're complete. We're individualized of spirit. You, me, we. This is how spirit gets to experience life, experience this plane through us. So we're encouraged to be the best that we can be, to stand up and speak our truth. And so, there's freedom in that. It's your birthright. It is my birthright. And then healing. There's power in healing. So we need to embrace self-acceptance as a spiritual practice. And so the Science of Mind philosophy also teaches us that we are divine expressions of a one, whole, perfect, and complete, which I just spoke of, and that society often marginalizes people of color and women, challenging our ability to embrace self-acceptance as a spiritual practice. So today I'm going to tell you about a story that I saw on Netflix, and I decided to watch it, and it was life-changing for me. And so the story was about the 6888. And they remind us how faith and perseverance can guide us through our highest truth and through struggle. And so I don't know if you've seen it, but it's about World War II. So the 6888 were a postal battalion of all Black women. And they were charged with getting thousands and thousands of pieces of mail, even millions of pieces of mail, out to families and to the soldiers within 6 months. They took on the challenge, but not knowing what it entailed, because they didn't know how many letters that they would have to be retrieving and trying to figure out who, what, where it goes and all of that. And then when they got to the hangars, excuse me, where the mail was, they were overwhelmed with, there was just stockpiles of this stuff. Some of it had gotten wet. The names and addresses were, skewed, and they couldn't read it, but they persevered. They persevered because they knew that there was a higher calling in their life. And they knew with conviction and courage that they had to to do this thing because it was all about, their motto was no male, no morale for the soldiers. They hadn't gotten letters from their families, their loved one, in months and months and months. Their families hadn't gotten letters from them, not knowing whether they were still here on the planet or had gone on. And so they were charged with that. And so through their courage and conviction and commitment, they trailblazed, they got through, and they finished it in 90 days instead of the 6-month time that they were given. And they worked through hazardous material, the coldness of the winter. They were put in this abandoned place that was just a mess, and they cleaned it out, and they dug deep within them. And knowing that the foundation that they were brought up on, they had to be better than anyone else. And they pulled through. And so Ernest Holmes tells us, it teaches us that external conditions do not define us, and that our consciousness does. And he reminds us that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. And that is breathing, living and breathing in and through you, in and through all of us. And when we recognize that and understand that and stop seeking validation out here, but know that there's a higher presence and higher calling and a power and a presence within us that has never been hurt or harmed or any of that. It is pure, it is whole, it is perfect, it is complete, it is you, and it is me. And so a relevant story to this story is a young woman once asked her grandmother how she remained so strong despite of a lifetime of discrimination and a lifetime of struggle. And her grandmother just smiled and said, "Baby, when the world told me I was too much, I reminded them that God doesn't make mistakes, that there are higher calling in me, that I was put here for a reason and empowered to do that which God has called me to do," much like ministry. And so like this story and like the 6888, you are called to stand in your truth, to be an unwavering in your faith, and live boldly as that divine expression of spirit. And so the tools for living authentically is courage. You need to speak your truth, even when your voice shakes. You need to have conviction, to stand firm in your beliefs, even when others doubt you. Consciousness, stay connected to the divine presence within you. And commitment, keep showing up for yourself and for your purpose, no matter what the obstacles are, like the 6888. And then community, surround yourself, stay connected with the divine presence within your community. Seek out like-minded people that share your beliefs and that will hold you up when you need propping up. We always say, please come to us as a practitioner because we want to pray for you. When we pray for you, we're praying for ourselves too. So we embody that vision for you and we hold the highest for you. We always say, hold the high, holy watch for you. So in closing, I just want to say that you are here for a purpose. And just like these women who paved the way, the pioneers, these trailblazers, Emma Curtis Hopkins, John A. Coleman, and Myrtle Fillmore, just like the 6888. Just like these women who trailblaze and pave the way and a path for us. By being the example, we too get to be the example for the next generation to come. So speak your truth, stand in your power, step into your self acceptance and awareness. You are a divine expression of the one power, the one presence, which I call God. And so it is. I want to just thank everybody that was here today and thank the platform team. I think you've done a marvelous job. Thank you for welcoming me and making me always feel like CSL Charlotte is also home, a place that I can call home. So I just wanted to say, I don't know what you're going through in your life. And I don't want to make light of any situation that you might be suffering through or going through. I often say we need help because we're in the picture. If we're in the picture frame, we can't see our way out of it. It takes someone looking or you sharing it with a practitioner or your minister, Reverend Rosedale, for spiritual mind treatment. We can see out. We can see the whatever the limiting belief is. And we want to hold you in consciousness. And we want to hold that prayer. So I just wanted to say, I know that this journey that we call life, it takes courage. We have to be courageous to even walk it. But when we step into our power and know the presence of spirit is within us, we can transform our lives. When we use these spiritual tools and practices, we can become rooted like a plant, like a tree, rooted in this soil of consciousness, of spirit. And so what I do want to do today is to thank Divine Spirit and thank all of you for being here. So if you would take a deep breath with me and just join me in consciousness of the one. And what I know is Divine Spirit is in and through each and every one of us. And I want to say thank you. I want to be in gratitude for you having the courage to stand in your truth, to even be here in this philosophy, in this world, in this thing we call life. And I honor that in you. I honor your path. I honor you as a person, a human spirit, spiritual person having this human experience. I honor you for that. I know that you're whole, perfect, and complete. And I know that we walk together in this thing called life in faith. And when you can do that for yourself and do that for other people, it inspires other people to do the same. So embracing your self-acceptance as a spiritual power and a spiritual tool, and know that you are never, ever, ever alone. And so I bless you for being here. And so it is.
Okay, so now we're going to have our closing prayer with Alan and then closing remarks with Reverend Sonja.
Wow, what an awesome message. And exactly so we recognize that this infinite powerful source that is within us is the source of our brave, is the source of our passion. It what gives us the drive to step beyond our human limitations and our lack thinking. Because the spirit seeks to express through us individually and collectively. So as we move forward throughout this week, I am knowing that we embrace this message that Reverend Sonja told us about remembering people like Johnny Coleman, to remember all these other various women that have stepped before us, and to step forward in giving birth to new ideas, to being brave, to like the feminists of old, to being brave to speak up, and also to speak our truths with courage and with conviction. Because we are all courage expressed individually as ourselves and as a community. So I am thankful to be part of a community like this, that where we all remind each other just of how bright our lights are, and we are the bright light on the hill in the midst of this turbulent storm. So I release these intentions out into the powerful law of giving and receiving, knowing that as we give of love, of passion, of courage, that it comes recycles around the world. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much. So I would like to say again, I want to thank Reverend Rosedale for trusting me with her platform today. I want to thank my MC, Horace. I want to thank Melissa for a powerful reading. Thank you so much. And Alan for the prayers and the music and just being on cue. And I want to thank all of you beloveds for being here as well. And I just want you to take away that you are a divine, individualized expression of the one. And I want you to take away, step into your power, step into that presence that is within you. And then I want to leave you with an affirmation for today. And it is, I step into my power with self-acceptance, courage, conviction, and high consciousness. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. Take care.